Welcome to the AgileTD After Work. Today we're very happy. We have David O'Brien talking about Playwright and MCP. So today is a special one because it's going to be quite interactive. So we want you to answer, to make questions so that David can answer them. And so we will start. Welcome, Debbie. How are you?
Hello, I'm good, thank you. It's actually really warm here in Mallorca, so I just like sweating all day. It's like ridiculous. But anyway, we shouldn't complain about the weather. But
Yeah, that's
it
true.
is.
That's true. I mean, in Germany, it's changing. It was quite warm. Now it was cold. It's raining all the time. Now it's sunny, and
Yeah,
next
it
week
doesn't know
is
what to
going to
do.
be again quite warm. So, but the good thing in Mallorca is that you have the sea, and in Berlin we don't have that. We don't have that water. So
I know it's very important to live around water. I love the sea. I love being able to just the weekend just jump in the sea and be free and just be cool.
okay, that's very nice. So, like I said, we want to do that quite interactive. So, if the people have questions, so they can write the questions in the comments, and I will put that on the screen, and we can work on that. But now, please start. Who are you, so that the people know you? Who
Okay.
are you?
Well, everyone should know who I am. No, I'm only messing. So my name, sorry. My name is Debbie O'Brien. I work at Microsoft, and my main job is to basically work around the Playwright community. So ensuring that everybody knows Playwright exists, everybody loves Playwright, everyone finds Playwright easy to use, and whatever is missing around the community, my job is to fill in those gaps, give that feedback back to the team, and just like create cool things around Playwright so people know how to use it. Playwright, for those who have never heard of Playwright before, don't worry, you're in the right place. Playwright is for end-to-end testing, for automating your tests. So imagine, have you ever had those scenarios, Jose, back in the day, where you would just like go to the computer and fill out a form to test it, and you'd fill it all in, and like 15 things later, and you might get down to the 12th one, and then it breaks, and you go, oh, there's a bug, and then you like have to start again. And it's a tedious process, right? Playwright was created for those kind of scenarios so that the code just goes and does it. Playwright's faster. The computer, at the end of the day, no matter what you do, the computer's always going to be faster than you. Just live with that. So the computer can fill in the form faster, can give you those results, and therefore it can test that. By creating the test code for you, then you just run the test, so you don't have to be sitting at the computer manually pressing those buttons, typing in that form, and doing all that work. And we have some great tools like CodeGen that generates the code for you. As you kind of interact with that web, it will generate that code for you so that you can run it. And then we've got great browser extensions on VS Code and so many other cool things, including an MCP server, which the whole world is talking about right now.
Yes.
So I'm sure everyone knows what Playwright is now, or if you don't, then don't worry. We'll show a couple of things. And what are MCPs? If I'll do just a very quick introduction to MCPs. It's basically a way for the LLM or the large language model, or let's say the agent, the agentic agent, to be able to do stuff that it can't do. It's giving it powers. It's giving it tools. Now, what is Playwright? Playwright is browser automation. So when we give the power of Playwright to the agent, we're giving the power of browser automation. And the thing is that, agents can't open up browsers. Well, they can fetch things, but they can't really open up a browser and do things for you. And that's where MCPs come in, because they give that powers to open up a browser, to fill in a form, to click, and to do things. And what does that mean? It means you can get your agent to go and buy tables. I have a video on that. I bought a table using an agent just for the fun of it. Probably quicker to do it yourself, but just I thought it was fun. You can use it to fill in forms. You can obviously then use it to go to your website and generate tests. Right? So there's a lot of use cases out there. I'm going to show you a couple of things that I'm playing around with. This is all just like me having fun. This is just Debbie. This is not, Playwright team. It's not Microsoft. It's just Debbie having fun and creating things and playing around. You can tell me what you think of them. So I can see the chat. I have the chat open, and Jose's going to also tell me if anything comes up. So do put questions in the chat, comments in the chat, and let me know if there's something that you want to see, and I will show it. So I'm going to start sharing my screen, which is always the scary things when you start sharing screens. Let me see. Share the entire screen. What could go wrong? All right. There's my screen. So I am using VS Code, and it is not zoomed in. I do actually have a demo mode, but I'm just going to zoom in for now. And I want to show you a couple of things that I don't even know where to start because there's so many places to start. So forgive me for that. But I want to show you a couple of things that I've created, which are chat modes, instructions, and prompts. So anytime you're in a project and you want to basically get the best out of the Playwright MCP and out of your agent, my opinion is to definitely use instructions, chat modes, and prompts. I'll quickly go through these so you know what they are. These are instructions, and this is what I tell Copilot, my agent, to abide by, the rules, the test writing guidelines. I'm basically saying you should use get by role, get by label, get by text. Don't be putting in this div and XPath and CSS, right? Don't make things up. Use this, these user-facing role-based locators. That's what I want. Maybe you don't want that, but this is what I want. And then I do assertions. This is really important. Timeouts, I tell it. Don't go adding timeouts because sometimes it just adds timeouts everywhere. And you're like, no, what are you doing? We don't need timeouts in Playwright. You know, it automates. So sometimes you have to tell the agent that. In the future, I'm sure it's going to be clever. But right now it's a bit, you know, you've got to really be very like, come on. So I give it all this information and that's automatically fed in every time I make a request to the agent. So this is, once it's a .instructions file, this is in VS Code, a .instructions.md file, it's automatically included, right? This is really useful, in my opinion. Then we have some chat modes. Now, this is kind of interesting. A chat mode is, you have ask mode, edit mode, and agent mode, and now I've got a Playwright tester mode, right? So basically, I'm telling it, these are the tools that you have available to you, which are the MCP server tools. And then I give it some responsibilities like website exploration, test improvements, test generation, test execution, and refinement, right? And that's, I find the chat mode helps because you're basically saying these are the tools available to you. But sometimes you might have so many tools selected and then you have all these errors. You got to disable and enable tools. So this is also another way of like making sure the tools you have are just in that mode. And then you got prompts. We all know what prompts are, right? Prompts are something that you tell the agent to do. And a reusable prompt, and this is like something very simple, like add a video. And this prompt is just for my specific use case on my website, where I basically say to add a new video. So after this session is done, this video is probably going to be recorded on YouTube, am I right? And then I'll get the YouTube URL and I'll just like put in this prompt and it will just go and add that to my website without me having to do any work. That's cool because my website hadn't been updated for so long because it's so boring to do. So things like this, the Playwright MCP can do. I've got one for adding a blog, adding a podcast, adding a video. Maybe we'll add a video later. And then I've just got some other things that I'm exploring. And I want to show you some of these fun things that I'm doing at the moment. So I've got something to just remove comments, right? This is a very simple thing. Like just remove the unnecessary comments that, you know, agents create, right? Basic prompt. Just press play and run it on my site. And then I've got some generate tests. Let me look at this. This is cool. I love this one. Explore the website. Like go to the website and just test out some things and then tell me what needs to be done, what needs to be tested. Okay. These, some of these, not all of these, but some of these are available to you on the github.com awesome Copilot. So everything I just showed you, I made a few mistakes, so it's actually in a pull request. It's not fully merged yet. So once that gets merged, you'll be able to see those chat modes and prompts. And the instructions is already there in the repo. So this will be merged maybe tomorrow because the person I'm working with is in Australia. So we've got different time zone issues. But this is a great resource for any of those instructions and stuff you want to use. The Playwright TypeScript instructions is in there, and you can just go and install it directly into your project, modify it, play around with it, and use it. Cool. Any questions, Jose, so far? Are we good?
We have a few questions, Debbie, and first one is, which model suits best for Playwright with MCP?
That's a great question. I actually am a big fan of Sonnet. I like Claude Sonnet. I was doing a lot of 3.7. Now I'm doing a lot of 4. And I've actually put this in so we can now specify these prompts, these models when we create the prompt files, which is quite nice. So when you go to the awesome GitHub repo, it will actually tell you the model that this was tested on. I'm not saying it doesn't work with others, just that's the one I've been testing it most on. Gemini is pretty good as well. Quite like that. But Claude is my go-to. That's mine.
Okay. So the next question is, thanks so much, Debbie, for all the knowledge you have brought to Playwright over the years. Does Microsoft have any plans to make Playwright available for testing mobile apps, for example, those developed in React Native, Kotlin, or Swift?
It does not. There are no plans. That doesn't mean there will never be plans, but right now that is not on our roadmap in the future coming up. So yeah, sorry.
Okay, so there's also a question if there is going to be a recording. Yes, this recording is going to be in LinkedIn, but also we are going to put that in our channel at YouTube so that you can see that later on if you want, or you can share that if you wish. So the next one is, when sending a prompt, how does Copilot automatically access instructions, test at chat modes, and the context file? Could you summarize the difference between prompt, chat modes, instructions, and context? Is it necessary to attach all of them each time we send a prompt?
Great question. So Copilot instructions is the basic one that Copilot has, right? Now, this is actually really nice. This can be generated. So I'm going to open up Copilot, open the chat, and you can come along here and you can generate instructions. By generating instructions, I'll just do it, let it do its thing. You don't have to use Claude Sonnet for that. You can use any of the models. It will actually just analyze the code base of any workspace you're in. So whatever project you're in, you should have one of these. You should generate one of these for all your code bases. It will just read the README, the config file. It will understand how it needs to set up the project and everything it needs to do. Now, that's just the Copilot instructions, right? But I talked about a specific instruction file called a Playwright.instructions. You need to have .instructions. Okay, and then you can specify what it applies to. I have applied it to all files. By applying it to all files, it means like, I don't care, because I'm doing a lot of Playwright stuff, so this makes sense to me. But you might say only apply it to spec files or only apply it to JavaScript files or whatever, right? And the nice thing about this, and now this has already been generated, but it regenerates itself because maybe I updated. Nux 4 is out today by everybody, so I'm going to have to update my site. And once I do that, then I'll have to go and do the config, and it's going to have to regenerate because it's got different, there's different stuff, right? So once it does this, you will see this is the old one. I'll let it continue doing what it's doing, but it starts to reference itself, right? And it will say, follow the Playwright test guidelines in GitHub instructions, Playwright instructions.md. And even just as a little summary of things that I specifically asked for. So they don't need to be included at all. They're automatically included for you. And you can actually see, if we go back up to the very top, read more Copilot instructions. So there's 3 references here, right? Copilot instructions, Playwright instructions, MD, and then this is just the generate the setting to do that, right? So it constantly includes these all the time. So be careful about overloading it with things that are unnecessary. When we talk about instructions, we're talking about something that is going to be used all the time. If it's not going to be or shouldn't be used kind of all the time, then it shouldn't maybe be an instruction. Maybe it should be a prompt. So that's kind of what instructions are. Think of it like, you know, whatever. It's like the rules, right? These are the rules. Do this, don't do this, you know, enforce this, like your linting kind of rules and things like that. Right. Anyway, this is taking a bit long, but we'll probably just stop it because there we go. I'll just do a new one because this is already created, right? So you go ahead and do that. Again, I just press this and generate instructions. And then the Playwright instructions I showed you is in that awesome Copilot repo, and you can go and install that. That's github.com/github awesome / Copilot. Chat modes. Chat modes is pretty new, so you might not have seen this, but chat modes is pretty cool. So a chat mode is agent, ask, and edit. Agent, ask, and edit. But now we have a custom Playwright tester mode. Now this is pretty new again, and what this does is it now defines the mode I want to use. It's agentic, but it's basically me. Let me pull that across a bit more. It's basically me just specifying the tools that I wanted to use and giving it some kind of responsibilities. These are the responsibilities of you as an agent. This is my chat mode to this specific agent. My agent is a genius in testing. That's what I've told it. It doesn't mean it is, right? So we've got to be careful with everything I'm telling you today. This is all like just kind of not experimental, but it's all like needs to be played with and modified a little and, you know, and tested out. So take this all with a grain of salt. And every time you take one of these, modify it and play with it on your repo and what you're doing. But this is the chat mode, and you just come along here, and then you can easily switch back to agent, switch to ask, and change your modes depending on what you're doing, right? Remember, ask mode is you're just asking a question. It's not going to do anything. It's great for like getting ideas. Edit is you just want to get it to edit stuff. And agent is like, just go and do it. Go and do it for me. I don't want to do anything. Vibe code away. And then custom is similar to agent, but specific roles, right? And there's a good few Rezo prompts. No, where's the this is the long way. There's a good few chat modes here. There's a beast mode. Check that out. It's created by Burke Holland at VS Code, and it's like the beast mode. He thinks this is the best top-notch coding agent. So go and run that. And maybe you want accessibility, right? So it depends on the kind of things that you want to do. And then prompts. What are prompts? Reusable. Something that you're going to use again and again and again and again to do the same repetitive task, like adding a blog post to your site. That's a prompt. Filling out a form, that's a prompt. Exploring a website, generating tests, that's a prompt. So does that make sense so far? Prompts. So I said instructions get added, chat mode you select, and then prompt you run. So let's go and do something. Let's generate a test. We generate a test. We'll do a manual test. This is something I was having fun with. I only wrote this literally just before this. I have no idea if this is going to work, right? I'm basically creating a scenario where I want it to be a manual tester. So this is my prompt. It's the tools that it has available, and I'm basically saying use the Playwright MCP server to manually test the scenario provided by the user, navigate to the URL and perform the tasks, and report back in clear natural language, and create a report and put it in a manual test folder. Let's go ahead and run this so you can see. You can run a prompt by just pressing the play button. Right now, again, I have no idea if this works because I literally just built this. This is not even like in my repo yet. Okay, so when you run a prompt, it now has this prompt, and it says, once you provide the scenario in the URL, I'll use the Playwright MCP to manually test it. So I now have to tell it. I'm going to say, test the filtering on Debbie.codes, for example. There's my scenario, and it's going to manually test this. This, if it works, this should open up a browser. And now this is the problem that I'm having. This is a little issue. So I need to I'm going to go back to agent mode, because with this one, it's not going to do what I want because I haven't actually tested this out on the manual testing. I've tested this out on the other. So let's go ahead and do this with the agent mode. There we go. So it's running a page snapshot first to get the actual URL. The browser's ready to use. Testing the blog. Okay, and it's going ahead and testing these things. Watch scenario. Okay, so now there's another issue that we have with Playwright. If you don't close the browser, and I actually should do this, and you should have this to make sure you close the browser after each section. So you should actually put this in. Close the browser after completing the test, the manual test. All right, let's create a new chat, and let me just run this again because I have a browser open, and you can see about blank. If you ever come across this and it says about blank, that is an issue that we didn't close the browser when we closed the agent. And so the agent then has a hanging browser. So if you ever do that, that's what you need to do. So let's go ahead and run this again. And it should ask me for the scenario, but it already has the scenario because it's, there you go. There you go. Hang on. It always goes too fast. To perform manual testing, I need you to provide the URL and the scenario. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to press the up key to test the filtering on Debbie.codes. Now it should open the browser to the right one. I have a massive problem about constantly leaving things open. So I've found this quite handy to always, like, say, close the browser on each time. So, right, it can see the homepage. It's going to navigate. It's going to click. This is the MCP server at work, right? This is what the MCP server does. It does things for you. It clicks, it fills in, it checks things. It's going to like click on Playwright there. That's why the blue is highlighted. It's running, it's clicked on all. So you can basically like just kind of walk away and say, right, go and test this out. Does this actually work? And I have got a couple of bugs specifically in these websites sometimes to like catch it out, because that's how I can see if it actually does know what it's doing. So it now can see the search functionality is working. The search has filtered the results. Look, I've got a browse by year. It clicked on that. I'm putting my hands up specifically so you can see I'm not actually doing anything, right? This is all the MCP doing everything. And you could probably totally just get CodeGen and just do that yourself, right? I'm totally telling you, you can do that. And see the way I said close the browser? Now it listened to me and it closed the browser. So I'm not going to have that problem anymore about the blank page coming up in the blank browser. So now it's going to create a comprehensive manual test report documenting my findings. So this might be something that you want to do, and this might be something that you don't want to do. I don't know. You have to find out what works for you. But sometimes you might want to just say, hey, I manually test this. Maybe you were asked to manually test. You go to get the MCP server to do it, and then you just give them the report and say, hey, I manually tested. This is what I did. You just like had a coffee and AI did the work for you. I don't know. You've got to figure it out. So it's creating that. Right. While it's doing that and work. Oh, look, there it's done. Sorry, it was too fast. This is the manual test report it's just created. Let me go across here. The date, it was the tester, so I'd have to check and put Debbie in there instead of GitHub Copilot. So the scenario, the test overview, the test steps performed, right? The topic, the search functionality. Like, this is really cool, I think. What do you think, people? Isn't this cool? What do you think, Jose?
It's cool. It's cool. For me, I mean, I am one from the old school. I did test automation 20 years ago. So now, you know, this it's a long time ago. But anyway, we have here some questions
Go for it.
from the community. And there's any plans to develop Playwright Grid similar to Selenium Grid?
No plans. Sorry.
Okay. Is there any plug and play kind of framework ready with all the modern tools that we can say at one go, saving effort to build enterprise level frameworks?
I don't really know what that means, as in what kind of framework you're looking for. Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that, but
okay, maybe he can write again a question and then we can see. Okay, so the next one is, could this Playwright tester custom mode be used inside Cursor IDE too?
I'm not sure. I don't actually use Cursor, so I'm not sure if Cursor has custom modes. If it does, then yes, you can use it. So that would be you knowing how Cursor works.
Okay, it's a very long.
Oh, it's a big one.
A big one. So maybe you can read it.
Okay, really appreciate all the effort you put into this. It's definitely going to save us a lot of repetitive work. That's the idea, exactly. With Microsoft rolling out new features so quickly, I know, literally so quickly, it drives me crazy. I can't keep up. What do you think is worth focusing on learning right now? Any suggestions for how we can stay up to date? And what kind of skills or knowledge do you see as being solid and future-proof in the long run? This is an amazing question. We are struggling with this internally because the VS Code team, for example, every single day there's a new update, and that makes it very exciting, but also it's like, what, there's another new thing. So I'm just what I'm doing is I'm playing with things, creating content around it, because that's how I kind of play with it more and experiment with things. So I would say the best advice I can give you is all be curious and experiment with things. And don't be hard on yourself. You're not going to know everything. So if you want to like stay around the testing scenario, maybe play with the MCP server in the testing scenario. But maybe if you want to just like go all AI kind of area, then, you know, explore different MCP servers and really just kind of be curious, and then even build one yourself. When you build one yourself, it's like, wow, this is actually really easy. And you end up understanding it even more. So definitely keeping up in the world of AI, it's all about doing yourself, building yourself, playing, experimenting, and being curious. Take 20 minutes outside of your day and just spend that on just being curious. Whatever your day is always busy, you never have time, make time. Take 20 minutes and just do it. Sometimes I watch talks while I'm running on the treadmill, not out in the road. And then while I'm running on the treadmill, I actually watch a talk by Anthropic to keep up to date on the MCP stuff. And that's how I'm kind of keeping up. Sometimes I learn watching a YouTube video that my boss has done a video about this, that the VS Code team have shipped something. And then I come along and then I tell my team, like, oh my God, did you know that this just like got shipped? So we're all just learning together. I think it's very exciting. So just be a part of that.
Great. So the next question, how are you getting the agent to open an external browser instead of the Code browser?
That is a great question, because I did not show you how to install the Playwright MCP server. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. And this is actually new since 3 days ago. In the extensions tab in VS Code, you can click on this and you now have an MCP service. Don't worry about the fact that I have 70 installed extensions. I don't even know, don't even go there. But you'll see now I have MCP servers and I've got GitHub and Playwright. Playwright is the one that automates web browsers using accessibility trees for testing and data extraction. So how would you install that? Go to the extensions tab, click on this here, MCP servers installed, and look at this. There's a little world icon. I've written a blog post about this, so if you follow me, you'll be able to see that. This opens up. This is so cool. MCP, let me just accept those. Reject cookies. We don't care about cookies. This is code.visualstudio.com. I'm using VS Code Insiders because I live on the edge, but just /MCP for normal. And this gives you not all the MCP servers out there, but a selection of MCP servers that VS Code basically have decided is a good idea to put on this page. I don't know how they make those decisions. But there's Figma, really cool one. There's GitHub. There's the Playwright one. You literally just click on that button and it installs it. That's as simple as that. I have a whole video on that if you wanted to watch me actually doing it the first time I did it. But there's a Notion one. That's really cool. I want to check that out. And there's like MongoDB if you're using Mongo, PayPal, like, I don't know, create invoices, process payments, and access transaction data through PayPal. That is quite scary, but kind of cool, right? I want to play with that to see what it does. Why do I want that? I don't know. Maybe I'm just in VS Code and I want to process a payment. I don't know. Maybe the tables, when I told you about buying a tables, I didn't want to do that to the AI and give it my credentials. So the PayPal MCP would be more safer. Definitely have to experiment with that. So yes, that's on that page there. So do check that out, and you can access that by clicking this. Once you have that, you have the Playwright MCP server. You can also just go to GitHub and install it using these buttons here. Or if you're using Cursor, Windsurf, Claude Desktop, Claude Code, all those instructions are in there as well. So use it in whatever tool that you're using. And then here you can configure it, and you can stop the server, restart the server, uninstall if you have too many, and things like that. So that's how I am browsing and automating with the browser, by using Playwright.
Okay. So the next question is, are Playwright confs integrated, I guess, like retries, reports, etc., in the MCP server?
No. So Playwright MCP server is a set of tools. You can actually see all the tools in here. If I scroll down, it's just kind of like a README, so it's not very. But basically, it tells you all the things. There are all the arguments that you can add, and let me come down to the configuration file. So you can be configured using a JSON configuration file. You can specify the configuration if you wanted to. That's adding the browser name. So you wanted to use Firefox. So there are some configurations, but it's that's not obviously what you're asking, but just so you know that you can configure certain things. And then if we go down here, the tools, right? Now we normally use snapshot mode, but you might want to use vision mode. You can do that if you wanted to. And then you've got things like interactions. So it does browser snapshot. a browser click, browser drag. So there are all the tools, all the things that it's going to do for you. Now, you don't have to specify these. The agent will just use the one that it needs to use. But just so you know what it does, like I didn't know it could upload a file, and I was creating the form and I was manually uploading the file. I was like, oh my God, Playwright can actually do that for me. I didn't even know that. So it's worth kind of having a look at the things that it can do because it's really good. It does tabs as well. Some people asked about that. Different tabs. It's kind of cool. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that you can play around with. So do check that out.
Okay. The next question is, do I need to manually click on continue button when task is assigned to MCP? Settings are done still, those are not working.
Yeah, so I didn't have one up here, right? You didn't see them on mine, okay? Because I have in here in the .vs code file, I have a settings.json. And if I go to my settings.json, where is it? Is it? Do I have it on this one? Maybe I don't have it on this one. No, I don't have it on this one. Okay, so on this one, I accepted it for this repo, for this workspace that it always accepts. So you can do that when you press that blue continue button, you can accept it. But you can also put in here, and I have to remember what it is, but it's something like chat mode, or I'd have to find it. But there's a setting in here that you can set, and then it just like always does it. You know what? Do you want me to find it for you? I could find it for you. I can find it for you. Debbie.codes. This is my blog. Building your first MCP server. See, this is how I find things. I write blogs for myself because I can never find things. And then I have to just remember which blog post it's in. This is a long blog post, by the way. Is it in this one? Damn it. It's not in this one. You know, it's in one of them. It's got to be in one of these. Generating Playwright tests. It's in one of these blog posts at the end. I'll have to find it later. Damn. Okay. I've written too many.
We can put in the comments later.
Yeah, it's a setting in VS Code, but I actually just keep forgetting it, and I think I should use it more often. Go on, try and get the next question. I'll see if I can. There we go, found it. Woohoo! It's in letting Playwright MCP explore your site. Chat.tools.autoprove true. So we take this line here. I should build a blog post just on this so it's easier to find. I probably could have asked Copilot, actually. That would have been quicker. So there we go. We put this in. Make sure we have a comma. There we go. Next edit suggestions. There we go. So chat.tools.autoprove true. Be careful. Maybe you want to autoprove things. Maybe you don't want the agent to just go and do everything. Maybe you do. That's up to you. So use it at your own caution. But yeah, you can just select continue in this workspace or continue in this session. That's other ways of doing it. I'll leave it in there. Why not?
Okay. So the next question is, any limitation to this you could share worth being aware of?
Yeah, limitations are costs. So this is very important. Let me, I need to click this button here. There we go. Go back. There we go, down here. This little icon here. Premium requests, I'm at 4.4%. So I got to keep a check on this. If I'm using the agents to do things that are not bringing value, then that's something to be very aware of. If you're using your premium requests for stuff that saves you a lot of time, that's fantastic. So do check. There's a little, that's new as well, actually. And this is really cool to kind of keep an eye on your premium requests. And then obviously in your Copilot chat, like you use the agents sometimes, test out the ones that are included. And then like this, the one times, or use the mini one that's going to save you a bit more. So just keep an eye on what's included and what's going to be premium. That's something to check out on. I'm not sure if that was actually the answer you were looking for. If it wasn't, just kind of let me know if there's something else you had on your mind.
Another question is, any plans for MCP to generate API tests in Playwright, or does it already do this? Can it add network-based assertions, such as waiting for 200 status codes?
Yeah, we don't actually have API testing in ours. I know there are other Playwright MCP servers out there that do have API testing. I think if it's something that you specifically really think is important, I would file an issue on the actual official Microsoft Playwright MCP GitHub repo and just kind of say, fill up a proper, a feature request or whatever, saying that this is something you think we should have and get people to upvote it. And then the team might look into that.
Okay. The next question is, can MCP detect and report to slow API responses during Playwright test execution? For example, if an API takes longer than expected and delays the UI rendering?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I've never tried that out. So I don't really know if that actually if it knows that it's coming, like it has access to your browser. It's the same browser. So maybe it does. Maybe like it can see the network and stuff, but I don't know if it knows it's because of, like, sometimes it waits. Playwright has a wait for, so it will run the wait for until things are loaded, until maybe the API call has arrived. So I don't know if it's already solved or it's just something that's a different kind of case.
Okay. The next question is, does Playwright support BDD framework like a Camber or Selenium?
It doesn't, and this is the thing. And I'm going to get people throwing tomatoes at me. In this agentic world, is Cucumber dying? And I don't mean to say that in the bad way, but do we need something like that? Because like I just showed you how manually testing, we can do this. I want to show you something else while we're just here, and we'll take more questions, but I'll just show you, like, I have another prompt. This is kind of funky. Again, this is me playing, right? This is just, but what did I do here? Let me see. Do you even save it? Add blog post, add convert, explore, generate tests, right? Okay, this is it. So this is my generate tests using the Playwright MCP. I'm going to press play, right? It's going to ask me for a scenario. This is the fun. All right, perfect. Please provide the test scenario. And now you saw that we created this earlier, this blog filtering functionality manual test. Let's throw it in there. And we can go ahead and create a test for it, right? Now, oh, sorry, I need to actually tell it. I've attached it. Use the test report as the scenario. Now, I actually played with something else a little bit earlier where I actually asked it to and I won't show it now because it might take too long, but I actually asked it to create a test plan because someone asked me about, have you never created a test plan? I've never created a test plan in my life. So I actually got it to create a test plan, and the test plan then came back in natural language. And that was kind of interesting because then I thought, wow, now I can create a test based on a test plan, and I can actually add that test plan into CI and things like that. So there's a ton of things you can do now that I'm wondering, does it make sense to use Cucumber? I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone. I'm just asking you to think about these scenarios. But we're not investing in Cucumber because I think AI is investing in natural language prompts and stuff that makes it easy for you not to use Cucumber, if that makes sense. Look at that. It's so cool, isn't it? I just love watching it. What it's doing is it's navigating to all the things. So it's doing what it did before, but now it's actually going to generate the test. And I could have said in that prompt not to use the MCP server because we've already got the test plan that was used for it. So again, you could decide if that makes sense to be using your agent, what do you call it? Requests, premium requests and stuff.
Okay. There is a hint from someone saying someone has written Playwright BDD test, and he just shared a link.
Yes, Vitalits has created something there, so go and check that out. That's a community-driven project, and you totally should use that if that's something that you want to do with BDD.
Okay. So that was the last question by now.
Oh, cool. Okay, so basically, yeah. Now this is the fun part, watching it create tests, right? It's going to now run the tests to see if it passes. And it's not going to pass, right? Because life is the way life is. It's not magic. And what it does is it gets very, very close, but it's going to find that it makes things up, but it's very close, but it's not going to be perfect. Let me see if I can show you a little bit better. So that's why you always need to kind of have a look over it. Now, it created a lot of things like to match area snapshot. That's going to fail. I'm sure of it. It's too long anyway. I don't want all that. And then it's going to have some issues with certain things, right? Especially like maybe to have count. But I have asked it to reiterate over itself. So 8 passed. That's not bad. How many tests did it create? I didn't even see. 5 failed. So, if you've got 8 tests that pass and 5 tests that failed in a space of how long did that take to do? And that's a lot of tests. Like that's pretty good. Now, quality over quantity, of course. And that's why Human in the Loop gets somebody who knows Playwright to now go through that test code and really understand it and make sure, like, we were pretty confident of like it did all the things we wanted it to do, but make sure the code is actually good and there's not those extra timeouts in there, even though I have written instructions for it not to do that. Obviously, like, yeah, there's things you can do in here. Like this test is going to have the go-to with debbie.co/blog, and you'd want to put that in your config and things like that. Again, I could instruct in the instructions to always do that and to look for the config. And so there are a lot of things you can do, play around with it to make this, tweaked more at yourself. But up to you. If you think that this is a great way of generating tests, I think it's cool. Some people say, no, I'm faster at writing the test myself. That's up to you. But it's definitely worth being curious, exploring, and just seeing if this code makes sense to you and is something that's going to save you time. If it is, then go ahead and use the Playwright MCP to generate tests for you. Yeah. Any questions?
There is no question. Only 2 comments. There. The first one is Cucumber is not really useful unless the company uses BDD efficiently, which most companies don't. Okay, and the other one is I'm glad someone said it loud about BDD. This is brilliant work. Whether I'm wins, yeah. So
thanks. Cool. I'm going to stop this just because it's going to reiterate over itself. And I'll keep that file just, for fun. And I'll show you something else while we're here. I quite like this. This is something else, generate tests prompt, right? Explore website prompt. So this is, your goal is to explore the website and identify key functionalities. A lot of people new in testing are like, I don't know what to test. Where do I start? What do I test, right? So you've got the manual tester option, and now you've got to you're the developer maybe, and you've got to basically explore something. We can get the MCP server to do it. So I'm going to press play again. This is the prompt here. Just press play. I probably should have started a new chat because now it has some in context, but don't worry. You should always start a new chat, and I never do. That's why it's already on my website. Normally it would ask me the URL, but because I didn't start a new chat, it just keeps going. But look at what it's doing. It's basically saying it's Debbie O'Brien's personal website focused on Playwright testing and web development. Let me explore the key features, navigation and blog search. And the window's open somewhere. There it is. It's like playing with too many windows on my screen. Here we go. So you can see that that's kind of clicking around there, right? It's got a search functionality. It's got some tag filtering. It's got video sections. It's got the color toggle mode. So I'm basically saying, go explore my website and give me some ideas of things I need to test, right? It closed the browser for me. That's why it closed, because I keep telling it to close the browser. And these are the key elements: the user flow, the blog section with advanced filtering. So just think about even just using that. If you want to then go ahead and write the test yourself, but use maybe the MCP server to just go and explore things for you, to give you ideas of things to test. I find this is really, there's the proposed test cases. Now, it's proposing, this is really nice, right? It's proposing test cases with comments that I could basically then say, yeah, I now want to go and write that test myself. Or I want to use CodeGen and go and actually use the tools Playwright provides to go and click myself and do it. But it's given me the structure. I think that is pretty cool. I don't know. What do you think? Everyone, what do you think? Is that not just cool?
There is some questions here.
I seen one about the, am I sharing this? Yes. This is in, did my pull request get merged yet? Come on, GitHub. No, it's still there, right? It's not merged, but you can still see the code because this is public. So you can go to GitHub, Awesome Copilot, and my prompts, not all of them, but some of them are here. That's the automation, filling in a form. I can't pull it across now. No. Filling in a form is there. And the exploring a website is there, which is the one I just showed you, and generating a test I just showed you. And this is really nice. This is filling in a form. If you ever have a form to fill in, this just does it. And I have like some basic data in here, and maybe you want to update that data, because every time I do a Playwright Live on our show, maybe you, Jose, on yours have to fill out a form to like do stuff every time you do a show. And this is like a way of getting the MCP server to do it for you. And then I had to tell it, do not submit the form, because I want to review it first. But maybe I might later on just go, yeah, you're doing a great job. Keep going. Just submit it. So they're available there. That will be merged tomorrow. I'm guessing I made a mistake. That's why it's not merged. And the instructions are in here. So if you wanted to see the Playwright instructions, they are down here somewhere. Playwright TypeScript. It's TypeScript. If you're using Python or something else, you can just go ahead and take that and modify it and change it to whatever you want it to do, and use it away. Just install it in VS Code or use it wherever it makes sense for you. And then if someone really wants the prompts that I'm doing, I might actually, I'm going to test this out a little bit more before I share this publicly. I mean, I'm sharing it with you, but this manual tester thing, I might just push that to the GitHub repo. I might just play around with it a bit more. We'll see. Any questions?
Yes. So how can we improve a prompt after an element is not found? For example, recently I asked it to click a new version button and it did not find it.
A new version button. That's interesting, because why did it not find that button? Maybe you could ask it that. If there was like, it depends on how long ago you did this as well. If there was maybe a visibility hidden in there, like an area hidden in there. We did have some changes lately to the MCP server, I think a week ago or something, to resolve those issues where it wasn't able to see anything with area hidden. So recheck that out again to see if that's solving it. And if not, if it still can't find it, you can actually take a screenshot. Like you can actually just come along here. I mean, this is a very bad screenshot, but let me go here and go to, like, I can take this screenshot here and then throw it into here, right? I probably should have created a new chat for this, but I could say, why are there duplicate filters for AI? Right? But you could say, why is this button not there? Looking at the attached image, I can see there are indeed duplicate filters for AI. There's both AI and AI. So see, they're the kind of bugs I put into my website to give AI kind of things to test, right? I've got these two here. And when it tested the filtering, it didn't just think that was important. So I can take an image and say, hey, look, this is an issue, blah, blah, blah. And it's, it's going to find out why, because sometimes I write AI and sometimes I write AI in capitals and I'm all over the place. And I need to do tag normalization and it's going to fix that for me. I'm going to, I I could leave it running, I can stop it, whatever. But that's what I would do. I would put it in, I would take a screenshot and put it in and say, hey, why are you not seeing this? For example, if you can see it, right?
So the next question, real-time example. In real world, we have 1,000 test cases in Selenium. What can we rate to Playwright? How MCP can be used?
That is a good question. And we talked about this as well, in the sense of like, can MCP do a great job at basically converting tests from Selenium to Playwright? Or is it worth generating test plans and then generating new tests? That's something I think that you will have to figure out and play with and decide for yourself. Because I don't think such a great migration exists. Now, you can have some tests in there, have some Playwright tests as something to go with, and it might, depending on how your tests are written, it might do a good job, it might not. But Selenium is probably using XPath for a lot of its locators, and that might be an issue. So I would explore, like I would do like the prompt I did with, like, you know, this is the test case I want you to create a test report for, or a manual test plan, manual tester thing, and then feed that in and let the Playwright MCP do it the Playwright way rather than just migrate. You could reference the Selenium test. You could say, use this as a reference, and that might help. So I would definitely take a small proof of concept. Don't give it 1,000 tests, give it a couple of tests and just play around with it and see what works best. I'm going to stop that because it's running into a little tag duplication thing and blah, blah, blah. So let's just undo that. I'll do it later. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would go ahead and play around.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So the next question is how MCP server different than Playwright CodeGen?
Yeah, so Playwright CodeGen is in here in this testing toolbar. So Playwright CodeGen is this record new. When I do record new, it opens up a new test file for me. It opens up a browser that, did it do it on my other screen? There we go. It's on the other screen. Let me just pull it across. There we go. So it opens up a browser, and then I can go to www.codes. And if I want to repeat exactly the same process that we just got the MCP server to do, I click on blog posts. I then decide, what do I want to assert? I want to assert, for example, I want to assert this one. This is visible, that the blog title is visible. And what do I want to do? I want to then click, let me click on Playwright, for example. And then I want to assert. So this is very manual, I guess, right? I'm going to put in here Playwright. So I'm in power. I'm the one calling the shots. And then I can, now this is the thing I can't do, right? So I'm going to go, I want to assert that there's all these blog posts contain Playwright, but I don't have that. So I could just click on that, and then I can come along here. Let's stop the recording. Let's go back over to here. Let me just close that. And I've now got my test, right? Let me make it a little bigger so it's easier to see. So there's my test just generated. So it's really nice. But sometimes the assertions, I really are like, they're not great. I've got to now modify this to be a bit better, to say, like, actually, that's not what I wanted. I want blog to be visible. That's okay. But this one, I want to make sure that when I click on Playwright, automating form submissions, that doesn't make sense, right? So I'm going to, and I could use Copilot to just say, verify the search results. And now it might say expect heading search result, right? And I could go expect results for Playwright to be visible, and I could use edit mode. I could use Copilot to improve it. But again, it's a bit of a manual process. I'm still in control, and it's still giving me some great locators and things like that. But the MCP server does it all for you. And therefore it does also create some, like if I look at where's the test it created? This one. If I look at this again, is this perfect? Not really. It was testing accessibility, but it did to have URL. That's something CodeGen can't do. It did to have attribute. That's something CodeGen cannot do. To be focused, CodeGen can't do that. So the MCP server can do a little bit more than CodeGen, but CodeGen is also great. Maybe the ideal world is to use them both in tandem. And that's something that we're also working with at the moment, about a shared browser between VS Code and MCP server, so that you can actually get it to do a little bit of the clicking for you. But is this better? Is it worse? Again, I think it's more user preference and what works better for you, if that makes sense. But totally, CodeGen isn't here. Use them together.
So the next question is, will we be sharing your chat mode and prompt files? Are they available on GitHub?
Yeah, so I answered this already in here under github.com, GitHub, awesome.copilot. I've shared the ones that I think are very good, and some of the manual ones I haven't shared, but you tell me if you think it's cool, I'll go share it. Why not? Nothing to lose. I'll play around with it a bit more tonight, first day.
Okay. So another question. Will it be safe to use MCP server while creating tests for enterprise apps like D365 X Central CRM, which may have confidential data?
I guess it depends. It's all about, like, when you're creating tests in general, it's not about the MCP creating the test. When you're creating tests in general, where are you storing those tests? Are you storing those credentials somewhere? Because then that's an issue. MCP server have great authentication and stuff. And when it comes to, like, make sure you're logging in properly and things like that, and how you store it. But I don't think it's the MCP. Remember, the MCP server is just browsing to a web. It's not really giving that data to someone else unless you store it somewhere and do that, right? But when you are adding credentials and filling in forms and stuff, use the outspec from Anthropic for MCP protocol and do that properly. That would be my best advice.
Okay. Thanks so much. So there is no more questions.
Cool. So, well, I hope, what time do we have left?
We have 3 more minutes if you want.
Okay.
Whatever you want. So take the time you need.
All right. Well, no, I think we'll pretty much end it there. I will just reiterate over things like, if you haven't installed the Playwright MCP server or the GitHub MCP server, highly recommend it. Make sure you click on that button and go there and just easily you just click on this. Like, I could install Microsoft Docs. Like, that's just cool. Just click on OK, click on install, and now I've got Microsoft Docs MCP server, right? And I can go ahead and read everything that it does and what it does. So it's really, really, really easy to start using MCP servers. So I want to highly encourage you all to test them out, to play with it, to be curious when it comes to Playwright. Do something very, very simple and play with that, and then think about later, wow, what can I do in my day-to-day work, or what can I do in my personal projects, and really do play around with it. I do have a lot of videos. I'm creating videos every day, pretty much, not every day, but almost. That's my video on using the Playwright MCP to submit a form. It's really cool. And that's something you can just do really fun-wise. There's the Playwright and generate instructions, and there's a blog post on that, how to build an MCP server. So do check out the stuff I've created. That's just a personal plug to my channel. And you can find that on debbie.codes. Everything is there. And then check the Playwright YouTube channel as well for more things. And the VS Code channel is also doing some great videos and stuff. And another thing that I didn't show you, and I'm not going to have time to show you, but if you're using GitHub, and for example, let me go to my GitHub. I can just, oh, it's not going to open because I've done it in non-personal thing. I'd have to sign in. But when you come to your repos, you can actually just clone my whole repo. A lot of my personal codes are in here. If you ever want to just like take my stuff, like go in here, and I've put all kind of stuff in there. This is the unofficial where I dump. It's my dumping ground. But also in here, when I do a pull request, let me go to a closed one, because I actually did some of these where I asked Copilot to do it for me. right? And when you do that, you can, that's probably not the one of these. There we go. Copilot did this for me. So when see all these AI Copilot, you can actually now use the Copilot coding agent. So you can assign, I just assigned Copilot to this issue. And what it did is it went along, and you can see the whole session here. It's really cool because I'm not logged in, so I can't show you. But you can go along. It's actually, test this out yourself. It's really cool. But what it does, it uses Playwright under the hood. So the Playwright MCP is now built into the Copilot coding agent. That's the coding agent in the GitHub, non-VS Code, this little guy here when you assign it. And it uses the Playwright MCP to be able to go to a browser and in localhost check that it did what it did and make sure it was able to do all those things. So that's just something to note. It's very, very cool. So yeah, definitely try that out and check the GitHub page for that. And yeah, awesome Copilot for those instructions and prompts, and just start playing around. Be curious and have fun and write tests, but remember, human in the loop for control and for making sure the quality is there.
Great. Thanks so much, Debbie. It was really a big pleasure. I hope to see you soon. You are highly invited to be to the Agile Testing Days if you want. So you don't need to pay. You can just come. So thanks so much. It was really a big pleasure. And I hope to see you soon. And thanks so much for attending and doing a lot of questions and or making.
Thanks everyone for all the questions. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.